Rudy Giuliani is on. Yeah, there it is. Is on. He's got a show on Twitter now, and I'm like, they're running this like, I don't know, whatever. I don't know if he takes calls these days or whatever, but it's his whatever, his common sense show, and I don't know what the fuck this is. Rudy's top 5. Let's go to, hold on. How much of this shit? It's all stuck there. Hold on. It's going to take a minute to reload. So this is part of his show, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have warned you. Nice. Good quality, X. Good job. Yeah, you're doing, it's great. It's a high quality gathering. Hold on.
From the east side, we're going to go through Central Park. We're going to go right through them and right to the East River. And we're going to kill everybody in our way. And then all of a sudden, one day, they came across Central Park and they just went into homes. They went into the nursing homes and the daycare centers and killed all the old people and the young people. And then they went back. You think I'd want them living there anymore? No. So Joe, will you get?
All right.
But the Palestinians pay.
Okay.
You can also.
Can this do? This can do most of what Concord can do, a little slower, but not as noisy. It won't create the sonic boom, they say, that's required.
Supersonic jet called the Son of Concorde, capable of flying from New York City to London in 3.5 hours. Yeah. Well, we're America. We're still working on other shit.
Concorde to largely fly only over, fly at that speed, only over the ocean, and it'll fly a little.
Well, yeah, if you're going from New York to London, you're going to be flying largely over ocean, I think.
A bit slower. Concorde went at 1,000.
Oh my God, nobody cares. This is number 3. This is attack on Rachel Maddow.
I mean, that was a historic win. No one has ever gotten that percentage in New Hampshire.
With a marvelously low turnout.
No one's ever won by that margin in New Hampshire. It was a truly contested election. It's a
truly contested, right? Nobody's ever won by that margin except when they were uncontested, which Trump isn't.
Opponents spent more money than he.
How come? Also, why isn't there more attention paid to the fact that he's running in a contested primary?
He did. I mean, there's so much to the story. That is the reason we have this segment of Rudy's Stories. You just made my.
It's not called Rudy's Stories. It's called Rudy's Top 5. It isn't. It literally is. It's literally not.
Point, Mad Cow. You made my point. And the last one that I'm going to give you is the
number 3 is Rachel Maddow out of 5. The last one being either 1 or 5, he's obviously skipping.
New York budget. The New York budget.
Somebody else will change the thing.
Is going to now be $233 billion by Governor Hochul Pochul.
Again, maybe he's better at it than Trump is these days, I guess.
The budget of Florida is $111 billion.
Yeah, but New York literally has Manhattan and Wall Street in it. Florida has Disneyland and a bunch of fish restaurants.
I want you to add up. I'm going to take a pen, and you're going to.
Yeah, here. Ask us.
Do this with me. I'm going to take a pen
and compare the heights of the buildings and the number of Fortune 500 companies in Florida versus New York, and the security concerns of the state overall, and the fact that. All right.
And I'm going to add up.
Why can't I have this level of quality programming? Why can't I have the technological tools at my disposal that Rudy has? I've been in broadcasting my whole life. I literally at New Trier High School, I was on the radio team, for God's sake, and yet after all these years, I'm still not capable of oddly reaching across my desk for a dry erase board, I think. Um, maybe one day. A boy can dream.
111 and 100.
Two of them, two dry erase boards.
11. That's the New York budget. 111 and 100, 111, 111. That's 22. And Florida has 21 point something million people. Now I'm going to show you the New York City budget.
New York State.
New York State budget.
Thanks for yelling it, weirdo. Jesus Christ. I don't know how I managed to find something more boring than RSBN waiting for Trump.
Okay. So.
Psst. Move it. Move it this way. Move the whole thing. Maybe move your chair. Because that's the whole
Florida spends 111 billion for 21 million people.
There you go. Somebody else did it for him. Uh-huh.
If you doubled it, it would be 220.
And it would be 222 even. If it was 111, then you're doubling it. But, ballpark. We're just spitballing here. Who does that kind of math that fast?
New York spends double that for 18 million people.
Yeah, but nobody flew 2 airplanes into the tallest towers in Florida. Just saying. Also, beaches don't require as much funding as the Security and Exchange Commission's protection of Wall Street and the fucking Dow. Also, just for the record, if I may, anytime Florida gets fucked up by the weather, the federal government rolls in and picks up the slack.
Why do you think there's this difference?
Because of the number of Fortune 500 companies that are run through there, and the security of those companies largely, our own economy as a country is predicated on the safety of that, and the Dow Exchange and the security around that in general. And just the idea that, yeah.
Do you really think the services in New York, where there are more rats in New York City than people, do you really think the services in New York City?
Yeah, but in all fairness, no one's done a head count of the sharks around Florida. So.
Or better, that much better than in Florida?
You think that's what they're spending it on? Fucking sidewalks?
Or do you think that this money?
And the answer is yes, by the way. Just for the record, of New York and Florida, which one had a building just fall down on its own without being hit by an airplane, without anything else going, without a bomb going off in its base, anything like that? Just fucking pancaked. Which, Florida, New York, which one of those states just had a building just go, just fucking drop? Anybody?
It's because New York is rotten to the core.
Well, maybe they're trying to de-rotten it.
Corrupt as hell. Pays 2 and 3 times more for contracts. Like ones that I can point out to you, like we pay 2 times more than California. We were paying 2 times more on COVID contracts so that our governors and mayors could pay off their favorite
PPE supplier,
campaign contributors. Or
how do they pay off their country? What do you mean, pharmaceutical companies? I got news for you. You don't think pharmaceutical companies have a super invested interest in Florida of all places? Fucking Florida?
Generate the money for the Hochul generated a couple of $100 million in campaign contributions by giving extra money for COVID equipment.
COVID equipment. Uh-huh. Whether the COVID pumps and the COVID cylinder gaskets that everybody needed on their lungs after, and yeah, the COVID decentralizer remote control so that you don't have to do it yourself manually because it stinks.
And she's the governor. Nobody's even investigating because she's a Democrat.
Why? What? But these contracts would have been during Trump, and the money that came, the COVID money came from the federal government.
They only investigate Republicans.
Well, they only seem to have to. Well, I mean, all fairness, New Jersey's right across the fucking water from you, and we're going after Menendez pretty strongly. Just throwing that out there.
So we'll be back very shortly.
Well, Mayor, of course, we want to get that number one in there.
Yeah, you forgot that this is the second of Rudy's top 5. Number 2, you have a number 1, and you thought this was the end of it, and your staff / son / whoever the fuck is there is like, there's still 4 of the 5. We've only done.
And I'm thinking for number 1, and you kind of mentioned this already, the anti-Semitism, and we have a short clip here of a swastika. Well, you mentioned it before.
Why don't we?
Let's take a break. I have to shit, and then we'll come back and deal with the Jew thing. That's thanks very much. By the way, hi chat room. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show.